Thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. Right now we are waiting. I'm keeping my eye out on a press conference that's happening at the White House right now. President Joe Biden is expected to deliver remarks on a federal response on the Maui fires that happened a few weeks ago, as well as Hurricane Idalia that's currently going on right now, currently underway. I do want to touch on exactly what we know the Biden administration is doing right now. They have mobilized more than 1,500 federal personnel and more than 540 urban search and rescue team personnel who are currently on the ground. Again, that information is coming from FEMA. We also know that the U.S. Coast Guard is supporting search and rescue, and there are 3 disaster survivor assistance teams deployed in Florida right now. Now, as far as critical supplies goes, including 1.3 million meals and 1.6 million things of water available pending request from the states. Again, that is coming from FEMA. Before I go into all of the details of what we know so far regarding this hurricane, I do want to take a listen in from a cancer patient that is currently in Florida right now and spoke to some reporters earlier this morning. Their story is just powerful, and I do want you all to take a listen in to what brought them to Florida exactly.
This is crazy. I came here for the best health care, I think, in the country. I'm stage 4 cancer patient. I'm at Moffitt. It's a block away from where I live. That's why I wasn't really sure, because I've been moving around like crazy this past year. But it's been on my radar for 20 years to be here in Florida. I finally made it, took care of my cancer, and I never thought I would actually experience this. And it is, it's pretty wild, to say the least. And I'm not sure what to expect, but yesterday, kind of getting ready for this was it was a pretty challenging morning, to say the least, and day, and I really don't know what to expect still.
So all just to receive the best care. Again, that is coming from a cancer patient that is currently in Florida right now. And again, they just wanted to receive the best care, so they made their way to Florida, and this is the situation that he is now in. Like he said there, that he was not expecting this at all, and I'm sure he is not the only one in that state that was not expecting this hurricane to this extent. But we do know that 2 people have passed away, and we do want to take a look at some video here at the live desk that we've received. This is coming from David Baxter in Florida earlier this morning. And as you take a look at that video, I want to break down all of the information that we know so far, all of the new details that are coming in minute by minute, including the death of 2 people in Florida. We'll touch on that here in a bit. But Hurricane Idalia is now a Category 1 storm as it travels into Georgia from northern Florida, lashing the southeast with heavy rain and sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. Now, Idalia made landfall earlier today on Florida's Gulf Coast as a powerful Category 3 storm. It is the strongest hurricane to make landfall in the Big Bend region in more than 125 years. Really take that in, and it is briefly intensified into a Category 4 hurricane before it actually made landfall. Now, the storm is causing flooding in some areas and has left over 300,000 customers not only in Florida but also in the state of Georgia without power. Now, the storm surge from Hurricane Idalia is setting records for the highest water levels in multiple locations on Florida's Gulf Coast, from the Tampa Bay area, from the Big Bend region. I also want to scroll down to inform you all of what we know so far about the victims, the 2 people that did unfortunately pass away due to the hurricane that touched down in Florida. Earlier this morning, we do know that 2 men were killed in 2 separate accidents during the severe storm conditions from the hurricane. That is coming from Florida Highway Patrol Sergeant. They did say that these are the first reported deaths as a result of the hurricane. And as I give you all this information, take a look at this video that is now here on your screen, coming from Florida as well. Just got this here at the live desk. As far as one of the victims, a 59-year-old Gainesville man was driving a Toyota pickup truck in an extremely rainy conditions at around 6 a.m. Eastern time earlier this morning when the driver swerved and then ran into a ditch on the north side of State Route 20 that is coming from the Highway Patrol in Florida. And according to a separate crash report, a 40-year-old Spring Hill man was driving a pickup truck at 6:15 this morning on St. Joe Road, east of Interstate 75 during inclement weather. The driver was traveling too fast for conditions and lost control. Again, that information is coming from the Highway Patrol. Both drivers were pronounced dead on the scene, and both accidents are weather related. That is coming from the sergeant there in Florida. Like I mentioned, we are getting updates minute by minute, and right now we're seeing a lot of videos like you see here on your screen, that intense rain and flooding that was really underway in Florida earlier this morning, but it is now making its way, like I mentioned, to Georgia as well as South Carolina. I know we started this live stream off with a live shot from South Carolina, so I think the best advice from me and what we're hearing from a lot of officials that are in these areas, as well as from the White House, is to make sure that you are reaching out to the people, your loved ones that you may know that may be impacted because of this hurricane. So definitely you want to make sure you reach out to them and make sure to encourage them to get to a safe place. And if they did not evacuate and they're going to be stuck in the area that they are in right now, that is in the path of Hurricane Idalia, definitely want to make sure that they hunker down and definitely make sure that they are weather aware as much as they can be right now. Also, we are just waiting for President Joe Biden to take the podium at the White House so he can address the latest updates as far as the federal response to Hurricane Idalia, as well as touch on the Maui wildfires that killed thousands of people, a lot of people, and we do know that recovery efforts are still underway there as well. As we continue to wait for President Joe Biden to take the podium, I'm going to pull this video up as I look for further new updates that are coming in regarding Hurricane Idalia. That is now a Category 1 storm. Like I mentioned, it is traveling into Georgia from northern Florida after lashing the southeast with heavy rain and sustained winds. It is moving at around 85 miles per hour right now. Okay, so we did just receive a new update 13 minutes ago that President Biden is being briefed right now on Idalia before he takes the podium. So we expect to hear from him very soon. Also, Georgia governor urges people to be ready. We do know that as Hurricane Idalia crosses into the state, he says that it is a dangerous storm. People need to prepare. They need to be ready when it is coming through. Again, this is coming from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp during a news conference earlier today. The governor also said that his administration has been in contact with FEMA ahead of the landfall. And Kemp said that his office had reports of trees down and power outages in the southern part of the state. The governor also said that crews were working to clean up any blockages on Interstate 75 in southern Georgia. The National Guard members, they are currently assisting counties with rescue efforts after Idalia. Right now, I am going to take a look at social media right now, and this update just coming in from the Tampa International Airport. We know that several airports in Florida had to shut down due to the hurricane earlier this morning, but you can see that update here on your screen now. They are planning to reopen to arriving flights at around 4 p.m. their time today. They said departing flights and normal operations will resume early Thursday morning, but please check directly with your airline for the latest flight updates. And I think that is the biggest concern for a lot of people right now, especially as we head into the holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend. There may be people that were planning to make their way to Florida, had connecting flights in Florida, who definitely want to keep that in mind, as well as South Carolina and Georgia and all of the other states and cities that may be impacted by this hurricane, not only today, but in the coming days as well, as recovery efforts will definitely be underway. I do want to take a look at social media and kind of refresh and see what videos are coming through as we continue to wait for President Biden to take the podium at the White House right now. This is the latest update coming in from the National Hurricane Center. You can see that here from the social media platform X. It says that Hurricane Idalia over southern Georgia, heavy rains affecting portions of Georgia and the Carolinas right now. As far as video goes, this is coming in from Weather Nation, again on social media platform X. This video was in Florida. It says that the powerful storm surge actually reversed the flow of this river earlier this morning, and you can see that now here on your screen. All of those boats really kind of being moved by the powerful wind that took place over there in Florida earlier this morning. But I also want to take a look at what meteorologist Greg Bennett touched on earlier this morning. This is coming from Perry, Florida, this gas station, and you can see the outcome of that, what I showed you here earlier. So it went from the first video to this. Completely destroyed there, a lot of damage, and like I mentioned, recovery efforts will definitely be underway in several different areas in the coming days. It looks like Perry, Florida has really been impacted. This is another video coming in from Aaron J. Jack. He said that wicked western eye wall in Perry, Florida of Idalia ripping Perry apart. So again, just unfortunate to see, but we are really seeing history unfold right before our eyes. Here in Kansas as well as Missouri, as this storm surge from Hurricane Idalia is really setting records for the highest water levels in multiple locations on Florida's Gulf Coast, as well from the Tampa Bay area, from the Big Bend region. So it is just a powerful storm. It is now a Category 1 storm. And again, it is traveling to Georgia right now, but you could see the storm surge actually caused structural damage and blowing out the doors of condo complex in Cedar Key, Florida. This is Hurricane Idalia. This is coming from people, maybe storm chasers or people who just chose to just hunker down and to just stay at their homes or at their businesses and chose not to evacuate, even if there was a mandatory evacuation in place. So again, I am tracking the latest updates that are currently coming in to the live desk right now, as we are still waiting for President Biden to take the podium. I do want to let you all know, 5 minutes ago, we were just informed that Idalia unlikely to loop back toward Florida later this week. Again, this is coming from CNN, and they said that is coming from some of the spaghetti models that they have been receiving today. It says that those models are showing that Idalia looping back to hit Florida after it exits the U.S. The U.S. will probably not be likely this upcoming Thursday, tomorrow. So we will be sure to keep you all updated on that. But again, that is the latest update coming in from CNN. Like I mentioned, we are still waiting on President Joe Biden to take the podium on his response to Hurricane Idalia. I think right now they are just doing their typical briefing that they do at the White House right now. So I will just take a listen into this as we wait for the president. Hopefully, he was supposed to be there just about 10 minutes ago almost, and we are still waiting for him to take the podium there. So as we wait for that, I am going to keep a close eye on that, but I do want to take a listen in from the Tampa mayor. This is what she was saying earlier when Hurricane Idalia, the worst of it, was really still in Florida.
What we're mainly concerned with is the same thing that you're experiencing up in Crystal River. We have flooding, extensive flooding along our coast right now. We have about 126 miles of waterfront land here in Tampa, and that is only going to rise. We're at low tide. The tide's coming in. We expect that king high tide around noon to 1, and that's going to bring in several additional feet of water.
So even with that flooding, they are definitely still going to have, cleanup efforts are definitely still going to be underway in Florida. So what I'm going to do right now, I am going to hop back on here at the live desk as soon as we know that President Joe Biden takes the podium here at the White House to respond to Hurricane Idalia, as well as those Maui wildfires that took place just a few weeks ago. And we know that they are still picking up the pieces there as well. So as soon as we see President Joe Biden, we will continue this live stream. But as of right now, we are going to end it as we wait for the president to take the podium.